Thomas Edison, practical problem solving and application. The nature of problems. What is the essence of a problem? Or rather, what turns a mere question into a problem? This, my friends, is where our discourse begins today. You see, a problem is a question that challenges your current understanding, a puzzle that obstructs your path forward. But it is also an invitation to think, to innovate, and to overcome. Now, allow me to introduce myself. I am Thomas Edison, and I have been through the ringer of invention and innovation more times than most. Through my experiences, I have gleaned insights into the art and science of practical problem solving and application, insights that I am eager to share with you. Let us begin with our first important lesson: the nature of problems. Problems are like the knots in a great tapestry. They are points of complexity that require patience and skill to unravel. In my life, I have faced countless knots. You may have heard of my most famous one, the incandescent light bulb. This wasn't just a question of how to create light, but a web of interconnected challenges involving materials, durability, cost, and the creation of a complete system of electric lighting. Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound lessons from the legend. In addressing the nature of problems, one must understand three core principles. 1. Problems are multifaceted. They often have multiple layers and cannot be solved through a single angle of attack. When I worked on improving the telegraph, it wasn't just about speed. It was about clarity, distance, and the economics of the telegraph system as a whole. 2. Problems are opportunities. Every problem introduces a chance to improve upon the existing state of affairs. When I saw the issues with the early phonograph, I did not just see a malfunctioning device. I saw the chance to revolutionize the way humanity experiences sound. 3. Problems demand persistence. You may know I've said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This is the epitome of persistence. Each failed attempt to solve a problem brings you one step closer to the solution. Now consider this. In what ways are the problems you face multifaceted? Can you see the opportunity within them? And are you prepared to persist, even if the solution is not immediately apparent? In my work on the phonograph, I found that the problem wasn't just technical. It was also about understanding the needs and wants of the people. The technical solution had to be married with a practical application that people found useful and enjoyable. During this first part of our dialogue, we shall dissect these principles further, using the real-life challenges and solutions I encountered. For instance, when I sought to improve the stock ticker, my approach was not to scrap the existing model and start from scratch, but to enhance and refine it. This was a practical solution to a practical problem. Now, let us move to our second lesson, the process of innovation. Innovation is not a single moment of epiphany. It is a process, a series of steps that must be followed with discipline and creativity. To innovate, one must 1. Observe the world with a curious mind. 2. Identify the problems that exist within it. 3. Conceptualize possible solutions. 4. Experiment and learn from each trial. 5. Refine the approach based on feedback and results. This process is cyclical and ongoing. It is not enough to simply have an idea. You must also bring that idea into reality through careful planning and execution. When I worked on the alkaline battery, the process was iterative. I tested various materials and configurations, each time learning a little more about the chemistry involved, and each step brought me closer to a reliable power source. Consider the electric light once more. It was not enough to create a bulb that could produce light. I had to create a bulb that would do so reliably, economically, and at a scale that could change the world. This required a deep understanding of the problem, a creative approach to solutions, and a disciplined process to refine the bulb to perfection. What is the process that you follow when you encounter a problem? Is it structured, disciplined, and iterative? Or do you find yourself jumping to conclusions without the necessary groundwork? Let's continue our journey and consider our third lesson, the importance of knowledge and preparation. Innovation does not occur in a vacuum. It is built upon a foundation of knowledge that must be acquired through diligent study and preparation. I spent countless hours studying the works of scientists and inventors before me. I learned the principles of electricity, chemistry, and engineering, and I applied these principles to the problems I chose to tackle. I once said, "Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration." This perspiration is not merely physical labor. It is the mental effort of learning, understanding, and applying knowledge. In your own endeavors, how much time do you dedicate to preparation? Do you rush into action without fully understanding the problem and the tools at your disposal? Finally, let us look at our fourth lesson, the art of practical application. The true test of any idea is in its application, the ability to take a concept or invention from the realm of imagination and make it useful in the everyday world. It is the bridge between an invention and an innovation. An invention becomes an innovation only when it is broadly adopted and changes the way people live. My work on the motion picture camera, for example, wasn't just about capturing images. It was about creating an entirely new way for people to experience storytelling. The practical application was not in the camera itself, but in how it was used to entertain, educate, and inspire. Now, let's break down the art of practical application. 1. Understand the needs of the user. The best invention is worthless if it does not meet a real need. When I worked on the quadruplex telegraph, it was designed not just to send more messages, but to meet the growing demand for rapid communication across the nation. 2. Simplify your solution. The most effective solutions are those that are easy to understand and use. The kinetoscope, an early motion picture device, was designed to be as simple as possible to operate, ensuring its accessibility to a wide audience. 3. Ensure adaptability. Your solution should not only solve the current problem but also be adaptable to future changes. The electric power systems I designed were not only for the then-present needs but were also capable of expansion and upgrade. As we reach the end of this first part of our discourse, I want you to consider a question. How does the problem you are trying to solve fit into the larger picture of people's lives? How will your solution be applicable not just in theory, but in practical, everyday use? Remember, the path of innovation is not a sprint, but a marathon. It requires endurance, patience, and a disciplined approach to problem-solving and practical application. As we continue, we will delve deeper into these lessons, drawing on the wealth of experiences from my life and work. The stories, events, facts, products, works, and achievements that we will explore are not just historical footnotes. They are signposts on the road to innovation, markers that show us how to apply these lessons in our own lives and work. And so, we have laid the groundwork for our journey together. We have begun to understand the nature of problems, the process of innovation, the importance of knowledge and preparation, and the art of practical application. These are the pillars upon which practical problem solving is built. In our next conversation, We will take these lessons and apply them to real-world challenges, examining how each principle can be utilized to great effect. We will see how an understanding of the multifaceted nature of problems, combined with a structured approach to innovation, can lead to solutions that are both profound and practical. But for now, let us pause here. Absorb these lessons and consider how they apply to your own experiences. Remember, the journey to innovation is as much about the questions you ask as the answers you find. Stay curious, stay persistent, and above all, stay practical. The world awaits your contributions, and I am here to guide you as you make them. When you're ready to continue, simply say the word, and we shall proceed to the next part of our exploration. The alchemy of failure, turning setbacks into stepping stones. Welcome back. I trust you have pondered the initial steps in our journey through the realms of problem-solving and practical application. Now, we plunge into the depths of what many would consider the antithesis of success, failure. But not just failure in its raw, disheartening form. Rather, we shall consider it as the alchemy that turns our setbacks into stepping stones. Let us convene on our first point of interest in this segment, the refinement through failure. In the pursuit of innovation, failure is not just a possibility, it is an inevitability. But within each failure lies a kernel of wisdom, a lesson that, if heeded, brings us closer to success. I remember well my attempts to find the perfect filament for the light bulb. I tested over 6,000 materials, from the mundane to the exotic, each failure refining my understanding and sharpening my focus. With each setback, the path forward became clearer. Now, how do you approach failure? Do you see it as a dead end, or do you examine the wreckage for clues to a better path? The way you answer this question could determine the altitude of your success. Next, we must look at the second point, the persistence in the face of adversity. When confronted with failure, the easy path is to give up, to conclude that the problem is unsolvable. But the path of true innovation is rarely easy. When I worked on the storage battery, I faced numerous failures. The materials I used were either too weak or too corrosive, but with each attempt, I persisted. I knew that the solution was not out of reach. It simply required more effort, more thought, and more experimentation. Consider your own challenges. When faced with adversity, do you press on, armed with the knowledge that each attempt, successful or not, is a step on the path to success? Or do you relent, allowing hurdles to become roadblocks? Our third point of exploration, the creative leap beyond failure. Sometimes the solution to a problem is not found on the well-trodden path, but requires a leap into the unknown. This is the realm of creative problem-solving, where one must be willing to think differently and entertain ideas that may at first seem outlandish. When I tackled the challenge of sound recording, I did not simply improve on the existing technology. I reimagined it. The phonograph was not the result of incremental improvement, but a creative leap that changed the way we capture and reproduce sound. Now ask yourself, when was the last time you took a creative leap? Are you willing to step beyond the boundaries of conventional thinking to find solutions that are truly innovative? And finally, we arrive at our fourth point, the mastery of resilience. To succeed in the face of failure, one must develop resilience, the emotional and mental toughness that allows us to rise after a fall. This is not a trait with which we are all naturally endowed, but it is one that can be cultivated. Throughout my work on the electric light system, I faced skepticism, financial difficulties, and technical setbacks. But with each blow, I learned to rise again. My resolve hardened, and my spirit undeterred. Resilience is the armor that protects the innovator on their journey. Without it, each failure becomes a wound that weakens resolve. With it, each failure becomes a lesson that strengthens determination. As you face your own endeavors, how resilient do you find yourself? When the winds of failure blow, do they extinguish your flame or fan it into a greater blaze? Through this exploration of failure and the subsequent growth it can foster, we find a profound truth, that the road to success is paved with the bricks of failure. Each setback, each misstep, and each collapse is a potential cornerstone upon which to build a towering edifice of achievement. Now, let us cast our gaze upon the historical canvas of my life. My work with the automatic telegraph, for instance, while not as well known as some of my other inventions, was fraught with challenges. It was a task that demanded the utmost in precision and creativity, and it was through the process of trial and error that I honed the invention to its final, successful form. And as we reflect upon these stories, these narrative threads woven into the larger tapestry of innovation, we must also consider the lessons they impart. How does the alchemy of failure apply to your current pursuits? Are you ready to embrace setbacks as part of the journey? Remember, it is not the absence of failure that defines the master innovator, but the presence of perseverance. It is the will to continue, the determination to rise, and the courage to innovate that carve the path to success. As we conclude this part of our discourse, I leave you with this thought. The greatest innovations, the most profound solutions, and the most impactful changes are often just one resilient step beyond a seemingly insurmountable failure. Let us continue our exploration, embracing the failures as the crucible in which the steel of our resolve is tempered and our innovative spirit is forged. The crucible of innovation, forging greatness in the fires of challenge. In the previous discourse, we navigated the treacherous yet enlightening landscape of failure. Now, we shall venture forth into the crucible of innovation, where the fires of challenge forge the greatness of human ingenuity. Every great innovation begins as a journey, an odyssey fraught with uncertainty and risk. It is in the act of experimentation where theory meets practice and where the seeds of an idea are sown into the fertile soil of possibility. Take, for instance, the development of the motion picture camera. This was not an endeavor that bore fruit overnight. It was the culmination of countless experiments, each one a step towards a reality where images could move and tell stories. Reflect upon your current ventures. Are you experimenting boldly and without fear of the unknown? Do you view each experiment as a vessel for discovery, even when the destination is not yet in sight? Innovation is not a placid lake, but a river with rapids, constantly moving, ever-changing. It requires a navigator who can adapt to the currents of technological advancement and societal needs. My work on electric power distribution was a response to the need for a more efficient and widespread method of delivering electricity. It was an innovation that changed the course of history, but it was also one that required adapting to and overcoming many technical and regulatory challenges. As you approach the rapids of change in your own journey, how do you adapt? Are you flexible in your thinking and agile in your decision-making? The ability to pivot and change course when necessary is a hallmark of the master innovator. In the crucible of innovation, two forces often emerge: collaboration and competition. Both are elements that can either hinder or propel progress. My interactions with other inventors and businessmen like Nikola Tesla and George Westinghouse were at times collaborative and at other times competitive. Yet, It was this dynamic relationship that often spurred progress and pushed us all to reach higher levels of achievement. In your own sphere, how do you balance the collaborative with the competitive? Are you able to extract the benefits of both, to use them as the dual engines that drive your projects forward? The ultimate goal of any innovator is the transformation of ideas into tangible results, the philosopher's stone of the modern alchemist. This transformation is neither simple nor guaranteed. It is a process that requires dedication, skill, and a touch of magic. My work on the quadruplex telegraph enabled the transmission of multiple messages on a single wire, effectively quadrupling communication capacity. This was not just a technical achievement, but a transformation of the very way people communicated over long distances. As an innovator, do you possess the philosopher's stone? Are you able to take the ethereal, a concept or a dream, and mold it into the concrete? Our sojourn through the crucible of innovation now draws to a close. We have traversed the Odyssey of experimentation, navigated the rapids of change, mastered the elements of collaboration and competition, and sought the philosopher's stone that turns ideas into reality. Remember, the fires of the crucible are not meant to consume, but to purify and to strengthen. It is within this intense heat that the true substance of an idea is tested, and its worth is proven. As we part ways, consider how you will approach the crucible of innovation in your own life. Will you shrink from the heat, or will you forge greatness in the fires of challenge? In our next discourse, we shall delve into the art of perseverance, how the innovator must often traverse the desert of doubt to reach the oasis of success. Until then, let the crucible's fire illuminate your path and refine your purpose, for it is in the heart of challenge that greatness is truly forged. The Odyssey of Tenacity, navigating the desert of doubt to the oasis of triumph. As we embark on the final leg of our intellectual journey, we find ourselves standing at the edge of a vast and daunting desert, the desert of doubt. Here, the sands shift beneath our feet, and the horizon stretches endlessly, testing the limits of our resolve. Yet, it is across this arid expanse that we must travel to reach the verdant oasis of triumph. The first step in crossing the desert of doubt is to chart a course. A clear vision acts as our North Star, guiding us through the unmarked dunes and the deceptive mirages. When I envisioned a world illuminated by electric light, it was more than a mere fancy. It was a destination I sought with unwavering determination. The road was long and the challenges were many, but the clarity of my vision kept me steadfast. Reflect upon your own journey. Do you have a vision that guides you? Can you see your oasis through the swirling sands of uncertainty? In this desert, the winds of skepticism and criticism howl with relentless vigor. It is conviction that allows us to harness these winds and transform them into a force that propels us forward. My conviction in the feasibility of the phonograph was met with ridicule. Some called it a clever but useless toy. Yet, it was this very conviction that allowed me to push through the doubt and bring sound to life. Ask yourself, how strong is your conviction? When the winds of doubt roar, will they erode your resolve or fill the sails of your persistence? As we traverse the desert, mirages of perfection often tantalize us, only to dissolve upon approach. The pursuit of perfection can be a dangerous distraction in the desert of doubt. The key is to embrace imperfection, not as failure, but as progress. Each version of my electric lamp was imperfect, but each was a step closer to a reliable and practical light source. Consider your own standards. Are you chasing mirages of unattainable perfection, or are you recognizing each imperfect step as progress toward your goals? Finally, as we emerge from the desert, the oasis of triumph awaits, not just as a reward but as a testament to our tenacity and our ability to adapt. My journey through the desert of doubt was marked by myriad inventions and enterprises, not all of which bore fruit. Yet, it was the perseverance through failure and the adaptation to unforeseen obstacles that culminated in my most celebrated achievements. As you approach the edge of your own desert, remember that the oasis of triumph is not a mirage. It is a reality for those who persevere. What are the adaptations and perseverance you need to embrace to reach your oasis? Our discourse now reaches its denouement, and it is here that the alchemist's wisdom is most poignant. The desert of doubt is an inevitable passage in the journey of innovation, a crucible where tenacity is both tested and tempered. To navigate it requires a vision that pierces through uncertainty, a conviction that stands firm against the gales of skepticism, and a willingness to embrace imperfection as a harbinger of progress. As we part, let this odyssey of tenacity be not merely a reflection but a call to action. May you travel the desert with courage, may your convictions be unwavering, and may the oasis of triumph be your final destination. We anticipate the stories that will be told of your journey, the stories of tenacity, transformation, and triumph that will inspire the generations that follow. Until our paths cross again, let the wisdom of the alchemist guide you. Within each challenge lies an opportunity, and within each innovator, the potential to transform the world.